Hello, everybody. This is Swati live from Los Angeles. Today is August 28th, 7 a.m. in Los Angeles. So far, for a long enough time, we have been talking about self compassion. And although we can keep talking about this, I would like to take a little bit of a break from talking just about self compassion and would like to turn our attention to neurology. Believe it or not, we have been doing this for almost 5 weeks and we are going to go into our 6 weeks. And I'm realizing, in some sense, we have just scratched the surface. But in other ways, we have swept a very big area. We have paid attention to different types of mindfulness meditations, but not just that, what comes with this whole idea of mindfulness, such as the concepts of adding positive feelings, specific happiness oriented practices, such as loving kindness, compassion, gratitude, and self compassion. And not only that, we have also talked about how we can use these practices to move more towards our quest, finally, where we want to go. So these are the type of things we have been talking about. So today what I would like to do is, before we get into our meditation, I would like to talk a little bit of a neurology for those who are interested in these kinds of things. Now, as I had said in maybe first couple of weeks, Sarah Lazar, the neuroscientist at Harvard, the one who works at Massachusetts General Hospital, her studies have shown clearly, and as I said, a few years ago when she was in UCLA and she came on stage and she made this little dance with Dr. Dan Siegel, and when she said, I just want to say it simply and clearly, the brain structure changes. So this was few years ago, and as I said, one thing that has happened in the field of neuroscientific studies is that they have become a lot more accessible in terms of accuracy of whatever they can see when they look at brain images, and also the expense. And as a result, there has been an explosion of neuroscientific based studies to see before and after meditation. Like it's not just about long term meditators, but it is also about, as I said in Sarah Lazar's study, 8 week long meditation training and what difference that makes in your brain. And there have been studies that are, some of them are shorter. I don't think there is anything for which you need longer than 8 week studies, but there have been shorter ones. So although we don't know specifically how much time you need to meditate, we have some rough idea that it doesn't need to be very long term. You can experience the benefits even in short term studies. Now there is someone else from University of Wisconsin called Dr. Richard Davidson, a extremely well respected neuroscientist who was a pioneer in starting this whole field of neuroscience and meditation. As I said, Dalai Lama had these conferences where he, from his Mind and Life Institute, where he used to, still does, get scientists and contemplative practitioners together and discussion, and he wants to test the claims that are made by meditation and such contemplative practices. He wants to test it by using Western scientific methods. And they have, every time I look at this field, there are new studies, there are new results. But I found this one article which actually explains most of the studies in a very simple way. It doesn't get into the technical details at all. It just talks about the results that we get. And it was published just in February of this year in Forbes magazine. And I would like to share that link with you because there it kind of summarizes what has been established in the field. So let me share that link with you first. Before anything else, I'm going to get rid of this bottom, and now let's get to the link. I think it is this one here. Okay, so it is in Forbes magazine business section, February 9th, 7 ways meditation can actually change the brain, by Alice Walton. And let me get okay, so as you can see the link, I mean there's no point in talking about this link itself. Okay, so I would like to quickly summarize the 7 ways meditation can actually change the brain. And I have already told you about Sarah Lazar's interview that was published in Washington Post. That interview also is mentioned, or that study is also mentioned here. So this kind of summarizes everything in a nice way. Okay, so if you want to write it down, Forbes, Alice Walton, meditation and brain, Googling that will give you this particular article. Okay, so now meditation helps preserve the aging brain. UCLA, which is right in my backyard, or I am in UCLA's backyard, has a research center called MARC, Mindful Awareness Research Center. The director is Dr. Dan Siegel, who some of you may know from his other work on emotional neurobiology. That's what he calls it, where he talks about not just meditation but other ways in which you can change your interpersonal relationships. And he is a psychiatrist. So this study shows that meditation helps preserve the aging brain. Need I say more? Most of us would like to have this. So I don't want to dwell too much on that. Okay, this one is very interesting. Meditation reduces activity in the brain's me center. And this has been around, this particular idea has been around for a long time. But this specific study that they're mentioning, that the brain networks responsible for mind wandering and self-referential thoughts, which is also called monkey mind, it's called the default mode network, DMN. And as we know, what we do in meditation, we train this monkey mind to quiet down and focus on something which we have decided. And DMN is associated with being less happy, ruminating, worrying about things. And that's partly why when we meditate more and more and learn to bring our attention back to whatever we have decided, we have a better sense of well-being, or we learn to stop the DMN from wandering around, and we learn past, future. More important is the current moment, and we are okay in the current moment. And these are studies coming out of very well-known universities, but some universities themselves may not be like, may not have such great names, but they have great researchers. And that is another thing that's happening. Okay, the third thing is meditation may lead to volume changes in key areas of the brain. So this is the study by Sarah Lazar that we have already talked about, where the area of the brain, there are 4 areas of the brain where she saw that the volume increases, and the 5th area, which is amygdala, which is the anxiety or fear processing center, there it actually the density becomes less, so less anxiety. But areas such as, again, emotional regulation and self-referential processing, that's where the thickness increases. Hippocampus, which governs memory, and that also increases. So the cool part of the brain increases, and not so desirable part, unpleasant part of the brain reduces in anxiety. One more time, I do want to make clear all negative feelings have their own place. We are not talking about just ignoring them, suppressing them. We are talking about understanding the message that's coming out of these negative feelings and then to be able to let go of them. Okay, now next change is just few days of training improves concentration and attention. And as we know that the type of meditations that we have been doing, breath awareness and body awareness, these are specifically geared towards attending, increasing concentration. And even in mindfulness activities, that's what you're doing. And this doesn't take a long meditation, as this says. Just a couple of weeks of meditation training help people focus and memory during a verbal reasoning section of GRE. GRE is the graduate record exam. Those of you who are not from the US, or even the ones from the US who have gone to college and have wondered about GRE, must know about GRE. Meditation reduces anxiety, that we have already seen, but the interesting part is specifically social anxiety, because see, the me center, the DMN is reduced, the one that gets into self-referential thinking, and the amygdala, that particular part of the brain, will reduce in density, and as a result, especially in social anxiety, it helps, because social anxiety is largely self-referential. People are extremely worried about other people's judgments of themselves when they have social anxiety. And the thing is, meditation helps with addiction, and you can look more into that, those who are interested. Short meditation breaks can help kids in school. They have been using meditation in schools, especially in the US and UK, where they teach not the exactly just the breath and body awareness, but mindful activities or mindfulness exercises. And they give kids breaks, and that has been a very interesting idea that has come out, that the behavior, the violent or rambunctious behavior also is reduced in school for kids who are given breaks to meditate. Okay, again, this is an interesting thought, and I do want to say it. Meditation is not a panacea. That it doesn't mean everything you ever experience will be all solved and you will lead a happily ever after life. I don't want to create that impression. However, a lot of things that we do want to happen in our life, and we all want sense of well-being. We all want to move more towards whatever we are, whatever quest we have, and we want to move it in a focus, and for that we need focus and concentration. We need to learn to avoid temptations, and not only that, we need to learn to deal with adversities, and that's what I talked about yesterday, how to deal with adversities by using mindfulness meditations and self-compassion. And that's why these, so I don't want to get into like showing you the brain picture and telling you where what happens. That is not for us, but it is still good to know that actually the brain structure is changing as your meditation. And speaking of attention and concentration, people started writing emails to me right into 2 weeks of meditation that they find that they can focus better. And as I said, to know that what you are training your mind is to keep coming back. Your mind will get distracted. It will wander around. But to tell it, oh, okay, gently, you can tell it, time to attend back, time to come back. That helps. So I think I've said enough about the neurology. There's one thing I want to say. I've said it before, but there's one thing I want to say. In last decade or so, one idea that has been really crucial to this idea of brain structure changes is neuroplasticity. And those of you who like anything to do with neurology, they should look into neuroplasticity. There are a couple of really interesting, very easy read and with stories and that kind of books about neuroplasticity. I think one of them, and I'm sorry, I should have had it very clear in my mind at this point, but I think it's called Brain That Changes Itself. I think that's, I believe, is the title of the book. I will clarify it next time for sure. But we used to think, neuroscientists used to think that around the age of 24, 25, our brain is fully developed. And then after that, there isn't that much change. Hardly any, or not, never, sort of. That's it. And so now what we are seeing is that's not true. And that's so exciting. When people sometimes, go through accidents or sometimes they have strokes, there is rehabilitation, right? But we are not talking about serious rehabilitation. We are talking about even in regular life, our experiences, even the environment around us, or whatever activities we do. And not just that, I guess even internal things, probably, I'm not sure about this part, what you eat and what you do internally probably also changes it. But I know external circumstances can change the structure of the brain. And meditation is one of those activities that has been established as a brain structure changing into the direction that typically everybody, all of us, we want. And neuroplasticity and become neurological studies becoming more accessible in price and precision. These two things, along with, I have to say, Mind and Life Institute and their conferences have been largely instrumental in getting Western scientists interested in contemplative practices and doing study. These three things have created an explosion in neurological studies, and all these cool results are coming out. So it is definitely worth trying to meditate, and you all have been already doing it. And most of the studies have focused on mindfulness meditation, partly because mindfulness meditation is not religious, it's secular. And mindfulness meditation is about here and now, reality. It is not just faith based, it is not just some airy fairy go in the la la land and stay there, but it is about here and now. It really is psychology. And the way I have been teaching you mindfulness meditation, most of you have realized I'm a psychotherapist, and the way I teach it is psychology based. How do we deal with difficult feelings? And we are going to get more into specific difficult feelings as time goes by. So with all that, I think I have fired you guys. I hope I have fired you guys enough to actually get into today's meditation. So close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Pay attention to your breath for some time. And now today I'm going to ask you to do any meditation that you wish. You're going to do it for next 10 minutes. You can choose breath awareness, body awareness, awareness of specific parts of the body, anxiety reduction, self compassion, loving kindness meditation, and gratitude meditation. You can choose any one of these and do it on your own. My job is to remind you to come back to it from time to time. Come back to your meditation in case your mind is wandering around. Bring it back. Mindful moment. Bring your attention back to whatever you had planned. Bring your attention back, mindful moment. And now, whatever meditation you were doing, I would like you to continue your meditation as long as you want. Because we are running out of time, after some time I'll be gone, but I would like you to continue as long as you want. Bring your attention back. And continue your meditation as long as you want.